Obviously, the iPod, the Macintosh, the iPhone, the things that we can in part thank Steve Jobs for from Apple. What a lot of people forget is, what about movies? Finding Nemo, Toy Story, and WALL-E. Remember, Jobs helped create Pixar and is currently on Disney's board of directors after Disney bought that company. So what might his health and medical leave mean for those companies? Joining us now from Los Angeles is David Cohen, an associate editor from Variety. David, thanks for joining us. Listen, Steve Jobs, some people say, is Apple. Is Steve Jobs Pixar?
No, I say it's not really fair to say that Steve Jobs is Pixar. Steve has been a great micromanager at Apple. He's been much more hands-off at Pixar. And really, if you had to say one person is Pixar, it would be John Lasseter. Although he would be also the first to tell you that they built a team of people who are outstanding in their fields and they really work together. So what Steve's contribution at Pixar has been is to let those people do their jobs and mostly make sure that they have an environment where they can excel.
Yeah, I mean, how involved then is Steve Jobs in Pixar? Do we have an idea? Or Disney, for that matter, David?
I don't think we have a clear idea of how involved he is at Disney. I think what you can say safely about Steve Jobs is that he's always had a commitment to making fantastic, world-changing products. And when Pixar was a standalone company, that was part of the reason that they would not do sequels to their movies, with the exception of Toy Story, which was a contractual obligation with Disney. He always maintained that in order to start doing sequels and continue to do originals, they would have had to double their output, which would have meant having a B team, as he put it, and he simply refused to do that. In the same way that at Apple, they refused to make low-end, cheap computers that sell for under $1,000. So his commitment to quality, his commitment to always making products that can have a chance to really have an impact, really helped Pixar become what it is. At Disney, Pixar is pretty much running itself. Lasseter and Ed Catmull really are in charge of the show there. So his role at Disney is at the board of directors level and not in operations of Pixar.
Yeah, you know, you wonder, because he spends so much time, David, at Apple, and he's always there, and the driver, I mean, do you think he was sort of, I don't know if it's hard to define, maybe he's the sort of veteran of last resort at Pixar? You think that'd be a fair way to characterize it? You know, in other words, everybody does the work, and then he kind of signs off yes or no at the end?
Well, he was certainly involved in decision-making. They would certainly come to him before they would greenlight a project. He was certainly involved. But he himself said that he felt that his role at Pixar was almost a talent scout. That Jobs has said that he felt that if you look at the difference between any two products that you might buy, the difference really isn't that great. But if you look at the difference between any two people who do a particular function, the best people might be 50 times as good as an average person. So he felt his job was to get the best people and let them do what they did. Because one thing we can say about Steve Jobs, he understands that he's not an artist, he's not an animator, he's not a writer. He lets them do what they do.
Well said. David Cohen of Variety. David, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming on Fox Business.
Great to be here, Brian. Thanks.
Take care.